Okay, this is going to be a really fun one. This is 10 acres directly on the Niangua River in the trout fishing section of the river in Dallas County, Missouri, just a few miles up from Bennett Springs State Park. So the drone is over the river. We're now looking southerly. If you look at the green field, you can see the red truck parked directly on the property. You can see the huge gravel bar and sandbar. Beautiful, beautiful spot. Now we're looking easterly. Down the river. Up there on the left, you can see a really cool newer house that someone built to kind of capture the view in this area. Just stunning property. I mean, this is a fairly long drone video, but there's a lot to see on this one. So the property has actually a little over 400 feet of direct river frontage. It's on the right as we look to the east. If you look right at the bottom of the screen in the river, there's a little miniature area with, I guess what you would call rapids. Pretty cool little miniature white caps, and that's actually referenced on one of the area maps I found. There are only two little sections of those tiny rapids, and one of them is right here at the property, which is kind of cool. But it's definitely not like a Colorado River white water where it's dangerous. It's just kind of an interesting feature. So now as we look westerly, property on the left. This obviously is a wintertime drone video, so we have no leaves on the trees. Winter or very, very, very early spring. We have some of the dogwoods starting to leaf out, but that's about it. Look at all those gorgeous sycamore trees with the white upper halves. So we're going to rise up into the air, and I believe we're going to fly southerly all the way to Marigold Drive, which fronts the south side of the property. So the red truck is parked in the meadow down there. Beautiful open meadow. The meadow is definitely within the flood zone, so not a good place to build. If you look toward the center of the screen, there's a trail that kind of goes, that rises up out of the meadow, and I believe we walk up that trail just a little ways in the ground video, because that potentially gives you a high and dry building site, and still you're very close to the river. So that trail continues way up, but it actually crosses over the property eventually. So now we're flying southerly. In the spring and summer, this will look totally different. It'll be just a sea of greenery. Right now it is winter. These tracks out here were logged fairly recently, and you can see that as you look at some of the tops and logs on the ground. So a few years those will rot away, or you certainly could come in and clean up the property if you wanted to. We've done that many a time over the years, and if you have a skid loader or a tractor with a loader, it's really not that hard. It's actually kind of fun, I think. So there's Marigold Drive. The property has direct frontage on Marigold, about 100 feet, 110 feet. There's currently no direct approach off of Marigold, but there is direct access onto the property via some road easements. And you can look at the listing to see how those are situated, and we'll also talk about that in a second. If you look up in the distance, you can see the Niangua. And that open area on the other side of the river, that's the Barclay Conservation Area. That's an excellent place to put your canoe or kayak into the water, and you can float right down to your own property. Very, very cool. So we're going to spin around now. We're going to face north, or northerly, I guess. There we go. Trying to. That open meadow you see on the left, that is not on the property, but you do have an easement to cross over the existing trails on that in order to get to different parts of the property. So look toward the bottom left. That road, there's the gate, so that's kind of the main entrance to these tracks. If you pull in and go left, you'll go down to the bottom field and curve back to the north end of the property. If you pull in and go right, you kind of skirt along the edge of that field and keep going up along the edge of the field. Now look toward the center of the screen where you see that light-colored rectangle. That's a little trailer. That's where you're going to go right, and there's an existing trail that leads to and across the property. And that's nice because what it does is it gets you past that somewhat of a valley, almost even a miniature ravine on the south side. So I mean, you could put in an approach off the county road, absolutely, but then you're still going to have to maneuver across that valley, which could be a pain. So by taking that road easement, you get across that valley. And now we're looking northerly. If you look in the meadow, you can see the red truck, which is parked roughly in the center of the property. It's widest on the north end, so about 400 feet wide, give or take a little bit on that north side, which is what gives you all that river frontage. And I believe now we're just going to kind of drop down and slowly go over the property here. Unbelievable area, super popular. Like I mentioned at the start of the video, this particular section is in what's called the White Ribbon Trout Fishing area, which basically means that it's more or less stocked with the trout, the rainbow trout and brown trout from Bennett Springs State Park. So amazing trout fishing. You can certainly bass fish, catfish, all that good stuff. But the trout is one of the reasons why it makes it kind of extra special. So still looking northerly, we're basically probably over about Marigold Drive. The drone is looking northerly. You can, toward the lower third of the screen, you can see that trail, and that's going to be referenced as one of the yellow lines if you're looking at the maps in the listing. By the way, www.InstantAcres.com is where you need to go to see if this property is still available. It'll be on the 10+ acres section of the website. So as we continue going north, the property drops down again, then back up, and then I believe there's another little miniature valley. And then as you get down toward the meadow, toward the green field, you have kind of a longer ridge area. So we're about over the middle of the property right now. And we'll be more than happy in the summertime if you buy the property to go get you some updated videos or photos that show all the greenery. I mean, this is going to look great. We love doing these drone videos in the winter because you can see the exact topography of the land. You can see where the logging was. You can see, I mean, you can really see what's what in the winter. In the summertime, this is going to just be a massive greenery, and it'll be hard to really tell what's what. It'll be gorgeous, but the wintertime videos, though they are not nearly as pretty, we find them to be much more useful when you're looking at the property. So at the bottom of the screen, that's kind of that site where we walk to in the ground video, which we believe gets you out of the flood zone. I mean, if you're going to build a fancy house, you want to check on that, but it does rise up from that bottom area, and with some skid loader work or dirt work, I mean, you could have a heck of a nice building site or camping site there. There, it's toward the bottom of the screen. Now as we pan up, the open field itself is gorgeous. I mean, for horses, for a garden area, you're going to have beautiful soil, good rich black dirt in that bottom field. Now when the river gets up, it will be in that field. So that is not the place to build your home or cabin. Might be a great place to camp and have your tent or whatnot. Now panning back around to look toward one of the building sites. So basically from there, all the way up to the county road, it gets progressively higher with the few little valleys as well. And then looking westerly on the meadow, and I think we take one more look at the river. I kind of hope we do. Love those big sycamore trees, huge sycamore trees on the property. Very, very, very difficult to find any acreage on this section of the Niangua River. The Niangua River in and of itself is very popular, but this section, the trout section, is exceptionally popular. You got that's why you see the little campgrounds and outfitters all over the place. Just extremely sought after section of water. On the right, as we look to the west, that's I believe that's Maggard's canoe rental and campground. Past that is One-Eyed Willie's, and then if we go the other way, we have Ho Hum Resort. So in the summertime, when it gets a little warmer and all the greenery's out, you're going to see a lot of people using and enjoying this river. Unbelievable. If you look off in the distance, you're going to see the Barclay Conservation Area, which is really cool to have that at your disposal as well. So now looking easterly, of course, you can see the red truck. property on the right side of the river. Awesome property. InstantAcres.com. These things do tend to sell pretty quickly, but I mean, you can get a hold of us, you can call us, or you can email us at sales@InstantAcres.com. But ultimately, just by going to the website, www.instantacres.com, you can see all the available property all at once. We store the videos on YouTube in order to link them to the website. Buyers request that we leave them on so they can continue to watch them. So ultimately, just go to the website. You can see if this is available, and if it's not, maybe there'll be something else that you'll love just as much.